Hey everybody, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Couch
Fantastic.
Critics. I'm your host, your co-host Josh, alongside as always.
It's Dave. How you doing, buddy? How's it going?
Dave. I'm doing good, man. I'm just trying to wake up. I don't know. I'm always so damn tired.
I know. I
I'm
think we
good though.
both did what 5 hour shots and Red
Yeah, we
Bulls
just
and
we got
and
5 hour energy.
caffeine
You know,
enemas and you
you
name
know,
it, and none of it's working. You know what? That meth. I think that meth over there. That's gonna help
the
though.
meth, the meth is what's gonna do it for me. Yeah, it's insane. But hey, we keep going. We keep going.
We have to.
And
We have no
this
choice.
picks us up. This conversation is
It
always.
sure does, man. It's been a little bit. I mean, I know this drops a little bit later, but I could say, "How's your New Year?" Because that's about when this is coming out, right?
Yeah,
But
it's shortly after New Year.
in reality, how was your Thanksgiving, my friend?
Yes, in reality, no. So Thanksgiving did just happen. It was good. We did our Thanksgiving because obviously now the kids are getting older, so they have fiancés and other families they have to be a part of. So we did ours this year the day before. So we celebrated on Wednesday instead of Thursday,
Huh.
and it was
Breaking
good.
the norm. Is that because you had a Black Thursday and you guys went? Right?
No, just because. No, it's a really.
Is that the day
it's
the
a
stock
sweet-
market crash was Black Thursday? That was the biggest fall. And,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. We
I
don't
thought
need
it
to bring
was Black
history into
Tuesday.
this. You're right. I think it's Black Tuesday. Good.
But regardless, that's a history podcast. No, so we chose to do Wednesday because I think it's ridiculous, but if we have any female listeners out there, they'll think it's sweet. My wife and I suggested, why don't we just do Friday? So we'll do Thursday. You guys don't do Thursday with all your other families, and then Friday we'll do it at our house. And our middle daughter's like, we can't do it that day. That's my anniversary. It's the they've been dating now for however many years.
Okay.
So, and I was like, and I was like, dude, in March in May you're getting married.
Yeah.
That will be your anniversary.
That'll
This
be
one
your
doesn't
anniversary.
matter anymore.
You'll
She goes,
forget all
"Well,
about
it
this
still
one."
does now.
Yeah.
So she didn't say, Dad, you're wrong. This will always matter. She said, no, you're right. It won't. But today it does. So
We'll
we
just
moved,
say
so
then
we did ours on Wednesday.
we'll celebrate your anniversary with turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing.
Turkey and potatoes. No, and then my youngest daughter Danica is quite the chef. She is a really good cook.
That's awesome.
And she said, Dad, this year I want to do the turkey, and I'm like, all right, you can do. Because
Wow.
normally I do the turkey, and
Yeah.
she did a great job with the turkey. So it was awesome. We had a really good day.
Turkey's always fickle, man. Like I obviously grew up traditionally with turkey and everything else. We had
Yeah.
steaks. I had a really good ribeye steak. But the funny thing is, it still had all the sides, cranberry sauce and mashed potatoes, which didn't really make any sense. Cranberry sauce and
Right.
steak doesn't really mix, but whatever. It felt Thanksgiving-y.
Did you mix it with some horseradish?
I did.
Horseradish cranberry
No, that's
sauce?
a really good idea. I should have done that. There's also leftovers, all those kind of things. But yeah, turkey's one of those funny things.
Yeah.
I can kind of take or leave it. I get the appeal of it, and I also wear them in a very small, low key this year. I lost a lot of family recently, all those kind of things. So
Right,
it's
all
really
that
just
stuff.
my wife and my mother-in-law and I. But I don't regret just having steaks. It was a lot easier cleanup and a lot less
Yeah,
cooking throughout the day.
So last year for Thanksgiving, so 2024 Thanksgiving, we actually went back to visit family, my parents and Jennifer's mom. And we had the traditional Thanksgiving with my parents with turkey and everything, but with Jennifer's mom, we did steak.
Yeah.
So, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because so like if you want to get into the history and the minutia of it all, there was no turkey at the original.
There were lobsters.
There was a lot of seafood. It was seafood and venison.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you really want to go OG, do a seafood boil next time. Punk.
Stupid butterball industry trying to trick us all. But anyways, with that, I know you've had a few days off. I haven't had so many. I kind of would really kill myself on a big project.
Yeah.
But I did manage to watch a bunch of really great stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing you
same.
did as well. So
Yeah,
what
I
have you
watched a
been
lot-
watching?
So I watched a lot of great stuff, but I also watched some bad stuff. So I want to get a little mix in here, some good
Okay.
and some bad. I'm going to start with a TV show that I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. It's came out in about, I want to say 2015-ish is when it came out.
Right.
And it didn't have a laugh track, so I was like, okay, let's give this a try.
Right off the bat, it's better.
Right off the bat, it's got something for me. It's called The Middle. Did you watch
okay.
The Middle?
I've seen it.
Yeah. So
what do you think?
I'm going to give it a try. I really like Neil Flynn. I was like, let's give this a try.
Great
Neil
cast.
Flynn, obviously the janitor in Scrubs, and a bunch of small parts all over the place.
He's
Anyway,
also famously in The
The
Fugitive.
Fugitive, yeah.
The
The Fugitive.
one scene on the train.
That one scene on the
But
train,
anyways.
yeah. It's so Patricia Heaton, I guess, is the main. She's the main character. She's the patriarch of the family.
Got it.
She's not really good at her job apparently, and all this stuff. But all I kept thinking as I'm watching this is I'm like, this this show is very much an unfunny version of Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. That's too
It's
bad.
very much, it's the lower income family always struggling. Family dynamics are is where all the humor is, but so much of it just doesn't land.
Yeah.
And it's not because of bad acting. I don't even know if it's bad writing. I think it's bad setup. And I'm not gonna lie, the minute Chris Kattan popped up in that very first episode,
Is he
a
in
little
it?
piece of me died on the inside.
I did not know
It's a little
Corky
hard to
Romano was
enjoy
in it.
anything once he shows up. I'm like, oh, Mango's here.
Oh my god.
And to be fair, he is not in it enough to really make any difference.
But you still,
really-
it is akin to, I was so sick of that Sugar Ray All-Star, not, is it
yeah.
All-Star song?
The
Did you
Smash
All-Star?
Mouth.
Smash Mouth, thank you.
Smash Mouth,
Sugar
yes.
Ray. Very different. Sugar Ray and Smash Mouth, totally different. They don't occupy the very same exact space in my brain at all. But that song All-Star, and I realized how many movies that used it in that time period that I had a negative input, view of, like a Shrek, which is a better movie if you skip the first 5 minutes where the All-Star song is playing. But I watched Mystery Men recently, and they use it twice in that movie, and I was like, this is probably why I haven't watched this thing in 20-something years. But it's a decent movie. So similarly, it doesn't take a lot to taint the batter. You know what I mean?
It does. And I didn't watch it because of Patricia Heaton, because I wasn't an Everybody Loves Raymond fan.
Right.
That show's fine. I'm not, nothing bad about that show. It's just not for me. It's not my thing. It would actually,
I think the writing on that, I think the writing on Everybody Loves Raymond is good. I have a problem with multicam comedies in general, but I legitimately think the writing is okay.
And it would drive, just the premise of the show would drive me insane if it was happening to me, so I don't want to live in that space even for 22 minutes. And that's living across the street from my in-laws.
Yeah.
I don't want to live across the street from my own parents. I don't want to live across, I don't want to even live in that for 22 minutes. I love my parents.
Yeah, but still.
I love my in-laws. I do not want to live that close. I want my own space. I want my own thing, and they would get that. Anyways, the kids in the show, the older son Axel, I did not like him at all. I enjoyed the two other kids, Sue, the daughter and middle child, and Brick, the youngest one, who always got confused.
You're naming these people
Dewey.
like I know them by name. I have no idea, but he's the Dewey kid.
He's the
from
Dewey.
Malcolm.
Yeah.
See, Malcolm in the Middle did it so well, in my opinion.
100%.
And by the same token, why would you call yourself the middle and come out after and follow very similar
similar space? Yes.
Yeah, like it just seems like create your own path.
It's well set up. It's well shot. The world feels lived in. It feels real.
Okay, that
I
helps.
just don't give it. The humor doesn't land.
Yeah,
it just misses for me.
Was it a CBS show? Was it a CBS show? You think? Anyways,
I don't know, probably because I think I watched it on Paramount.
Speaking of television, did you watch The Day of the Jackal? I think I asked you to watch the first episode at least, which was a Peacock reboot. It's a hired assassin, really high level. I can't remember the guy's name from the show. You probably remember it, but
the middle was ABC, not CBS.
Okay, that's usually a little better. Not NBC, but still up there. But anyways, so The Day of the Jackal came out, and I do recommend it to people. I think it's actually really solid. If you like the nuts and bolts of watching heist movies or assassins or any of the planning and you know, it's kind of like if you're watching Better Call Saul and Mike Ehrmantraut. If you don't know the show, then you won't know these references. But Mike Ehrmantraut would go to the hardware store and buy like a hose and then some nails, and you're like, what the hell is he doing? And you don't know, and then all of a sudden it all comes together 10 minutes later and he's, you know, putting out stop sticks for a van or something. Like those are the things that if you like the nuts and bolts of watching some processes happen, that's the Day of the Jackal is for, which is really good. And it's based on a movie from 1973.
Yes.
And I knew that, and I finally sat down and watched it, and it's really good. Like, it's follows very similar material. They use a lot of stuff, some of the moments in the movie, in the show, like as an homage and stuff like that. But just as far as a show about an assassin, it's pretty good. It's pretty authentic, and there's some real feel, and there's some dark moments. And
the '90s remake with Bruce Willis called The Jackal it's not good. Don't waste your time on that one.
I don't count that.
It doesn't. It's not good. It's not good. I need to watch the OG, the 1973. I've never watched it. I'm familiar with it. I can picture the cover box in my head, still, but I never did watch it. But you're right. The show is really well done, and it's really well acted. The two main actors, is it? I can't remember her name. I'm
having trouble with both of them.
She's great.
Those people. Both of those lead actors.
But the 73 is definitely, it holds up.
Yeah, it's good. I think the modern show is cooler, in my opinion. Because the part I like about it is the planning and the scouting locations and figuring out how they're gonna, so that element I like better. Plus, I think I don't want to spoil the ending. Anyways, it's good. It's worth watching, and it's got some big elaborate scenes, crowd scenes, and stuff like that. So all that stuff's out.
And you mentioned the planning and everything, and specifically Mike Ehrmantraut. If you going back to Better Call Saul, there's a spot where he goes and he buys all the stuff, and he would basically cements in a piece of sidewalk. Yeah. And does it 100% exactly like it would be a YouTube how-to video. Yeah. Watching what he's doing, because that's how you should actually do it.
Yeah.
Taking a lot of the time to be accurate and correct in the small things makes the big things more plausible.
It reminds me when I was a kid and I watched Die Hard.
Yeah.
And they have all the upper floor construction scenes for the fight scenes upstairs. Where they're still building upstairs. Well, as I got into construction years and years later, and I watched those scenes, and I'm like, that's a real job site. Yeah. And it is a real job site, because I think the studio that was their building, it was still under construction. Yeah. I'm sure they put up some fake walls to be torn down because they didn't want people, but still, the steel studs, the framing, the electrical wiring, all the stuff that's in there looks like one of my job sites, which I think it adds so much to it that it wasn't just like, when somebody gets thrown through a wall and the sheetrock or the drywall they just go right through the wall and there's no framing there, and you're like, well, that's not how that bothers me when those things happen. You know what I mean? But maybe not the regular person. But I don't know. I hold back. I refrain. I'm trying to not say I digress.
I refrain.
There's something else I watched. I watched a silent movie that I hadn't seen. You would watch The Unknown recently. I watched a movie called The Mystic. Another Todd Browning.
It's next on my list because it's on my Criterion set. The Mystic. It's a three movie set that I got, and that's on there.
Was it The Mystic, The Unknown, and
Freaks?
And Freaks. Yeah, the Mystic is really good. It's I like The Unknown a little better. Lon Chaney just kills it with the armless thing and that. But the Mystic is it's a good silent movie. Todd Browning had this avenue especially in the silent era to tell stories that necessarily weren't going to be told, or introduce people to worlds that they didn't really necessarily know.
Yeah, and they're worlds he grew up and lived in.
Right,
he knows those worlds.
Because he was a freak?
Well, he just hung out with them. He was a sideshow guy. He hung out with those people. He lived that. It's similar to, it's the same as George Méliès. He was a magician. That is what he was when he got into film and those early shorts that he did. Right. From Earth to the Moon and everything.
Well, and that's film he thought of as just another way to do a magic trick.
Yes.
Which is, it's about visually tempting the eye to think in misdirection and things like that. And that was that's why he fell in love with it in the beginning.
Yeah. So I need to watch The Mystic. It's on my list to watch hopefully this week. I actually watched 2 silent films this week.
Oh yeah? What'd you watch?
I watched the first one I watched was 1915's The Cheat, directed by Cecil B. DeMille.
Good movie.
It's about this lady Edith Hardy. She's a social climber, and she embezzles money from a charity that she's supposed to be on top of to buy new gowns for herself.
That's the one with the branding scene, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She ends up losing all of that money. So she ends up borrowing it from a wealthy Oriental ivory merchant. She ends up getting branded. But the big thing about this is the Oriental, the Asian man is
that Setsu
Hayakawa? Hayakawa, who at the time was a huge star. He was one of the most bankable stars. He was one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood.
Like Anime Wong. We had two gigantic Asian actors in Hollywood that were carving their own path with their own studios, their own films.
And then different things happen. The world changes, and he falls from favor. But he still keeps making movies. He's actually he's the head villain pirate in Disney's Great Swiss Family Robinson. Like, he keeps showing up. But
he's in the Bridge on the River Kwai.
Bridge on the River Kwai. He's the main Asian.
He's in
military.
The Geisha Boy with Jerry Lewis. I know that because Mel and I went off on a Setsu Hayakawa spiel, watched The Dragon Painter, The Cheat, and then started watching some of his later work. But he's awesome. I love the 1915 doing an interracial thing, and because he in The Cheat, he is very white showing. Like, he's not overtly Asian. You know he is because they allude to that. But he's like an antiquities dealer.
Yes.
And so that's really the only real connection, is that he deals in like Asian antiques.
Yeah,
and things like that.
But then it does have a great branding scene that leads to disgrace and tragedy.
That's mostly what it's known for. That's what it's remembered for.
It's big claim to fame. But that one I really enjoyed. I had a great time with. And then there's the other one that I watched I didn't like as much. But it was directed by William Desmond Taylor, who would die like 4 years later, murdered, a whole tragic thing. But there
was a lot of murder and scandal in early Hollywood.
Yeah, there was.
I still think that Ted Healy bit with the Three Stooges and the money.
So you bring up Ted.
Well,
hold on. Well, that's funny that you bring that up, Ted, because this movie, Johanna Enlists, stars the great Mary Pickford. She also produced it. But one of the supporting characters is none other than the great Wallace Beery, who may or may not have been involved in Ted Healy's.
I mean, he beat Ted Healy up outside of the bar. Everybody knows that. He's admitted to that. That he got in a fist fight with him, but he left, and then Ted Healy apparently died, like, supposedly hours later.
Supposedly, well, and because he also may or may not have gotten into another fight with some UCLA students. And so that's a show. That's for another show. Maybe we'll get to the whole Ted Healy story.
Or a more investigative podcast than our silly little nothing we're doing here.
So Johanna Enlists is this movie about Mary Pickford plays Joanna. She's just this small town farm girl, and she just feels like she lives a dead end life. She dreams of romance, and suddenly the U.S. Army regiment lands nearby, and she ends up, she finds admirers, lieutenants, some privates, and other stuff. Romance unfolds. So there's a lot going on. Is it okay?
Is it good? It's
good. I think honestly, my favorite part in this is because of. In 1918, regions, different states, different municipalities had the ability to censor their own stuff. So they would cut things that they didn't like. About the first half of the third reel is missing. Somebody cut it and it's gone. They don't know where it is. So similar to, we've talked about Greed in the past, similar to Greed, where they do a bunch of stills and use the shooting schedule to give you interstitials to tell you to fill in. They do the same thing here. So it's good for that, just because I think it's important to understand the history and there's value in recreating all of that. But I'm also not a huge romance guy.
Right.
This is the movie that according to, I forget her name, but who's the Silent Sundays host on TCM?
I can't remember her name, anyway, but I'm with you.
She runs the film department at the University of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I forget her name. I apologize, but she's awesome. But she was talking about how this is the movie that really cemented Mary Pickford's America's sweetheart persona. This is the one that really, now from here on forever, with Pick Fair and everything else that comes later, this is where it really started. So from a history perspective, I thought it was very important. I'm glad I watched it. But if I'm going to recommend one, go watch The Cheat. The Cheat is a way better movie.
Yeah. So is The Dragon Painter, also cinephile. The funny thing, first of all, we're just talking about silent movies. So if anybody
we're really building our core audience right here.
All those 100-year-old people who are like, I saw that in the theater, and 10 cents for the trolley and popcorn. But that being said, let me take one more second on silent, specifically because Mary Pickford is great. I like her a lot, and mostly it's because one of my first things I saw was Sparrows, and I loved Sparrows. I still like it. It's one of my favorite silent movies. It's sad and amazing, and I don't know, it's just really good. It's about orphans, and it's based on real things that were happening, baby farms, where people were basically dropping off babies to these people, to farms, who were then selling them as workers, like white babies, Asian babies, every baby.
Didn't matter.
It was just a person that they could take and sell to some other farmer and say, like, well, raise this one, and then you'll have a worker on your farm. But anyways, I hold back. So that one's way better. But I do like Mary Pickford a lot. And so I do have Joanna and Liz recorded. It was actually almost watched it the other night. Instead of that, I watched an Oscar Michaud movie that I've been holding off on for a long time, which is Body and Soul. Everybody doesn't know, Oscar Michaud was one of the very early directors, have to be a black director. Did a lot of independent film himself, taught himself to make film because he was writing stories and writing novels, novellas, and then was optioning to have these made into movies, but didn't like the way that other artists were going to make his movies. So he said, I'll just make it myself. So he makes Body and Soul. He makes a handful of other movies. He famously, Paul Robeson was his muse. He put him in a lot of his movies. So anyways, I watched Body and Soul. It's about a bad preacher who is corrupt. It's from 1925, I think. It's very good. There are some shots and some things done in that when you have a person who's outside of standard film teaching and learned either from experiments or from any other place besides a school, they're going to be more experimental with the way they're shooting some things. It's how things are done, how things look. And there's a couple of those bits in there that I think are just beautiful and amazing. A little slow. I don't think everybody would like it. The story's a little messy, but you get it by the end. One thing it does that I think was amazing is it relies a lot on not only flashbacks, but it relies a lot on perspective. So it does very early, 1925. It shows a scene happening and this tragedy happens, and then all of a sudden later in the movie this person explains, well, you don't know what happened before that, and then they explain what was happening, like what led to that. So it's that two different perspectives on something happening, which I thought was really clever and creative. But the overwhelming sense of the movie, which I thought was super ahead of his time, because I think Oscar Michaud was an atheist, was the movie is about religious people with blind faith and not seeing the corruption and the terrible things. This horrible preacher is a terrible person, but the main character's mom refuses to see any of the negative stuff and wants her daughter to marry this preacher, even though he's this terrible person. I mean, bad person. And so the daughter runs away and all these kind of things like that. But really, I think the overwhelming thing the undercurrent theme of it is the fact that people are blind by, their blind faith of saying, well, it's God's will or it's God's way or those kind of things. Not to get into that we're not that kind of podcast, but it's very good. And Oscar Michaud, it clicks that notch in my silent film knowledge that I got to watch his movies. Just like you had to watch Johanna and Liz. Because sometimes I watch a silent movie and I watch it just like the 1912 Cleopatra is so fucking boring and horrible and grueling that Mel and I struggle. It's 2.5 hours. It's very hard to watch. It plays like a really bad play in a park, but they try to make it into a movie. It's really bad. But like they walk behind scenery and then come out the other side as if it's in a new area. It's just really hard to watch and long. But so usually when we're watching something, I'll say, well, it's probably not going to be as bad as 1912 Cleopatra, and we got through that.
And that's the other thing is, especially for a modern audience, that I would temper anybody if you're going to try to take on and start watching silent movies, do it, absolutely.
100%.
But understand that, so you talk about 1912's Cleopatra, it's only 87 minutes. That doesn't sound long. But when dry...
No way. That was only 87 minutes long?
87
oh my God. I thought it was 870 minutes long.
In a film, a bad movie plays so much longer.
Yeah.
Because you can't just get lost in a dialogue. You can't, there's so many other things that are happening.
Right.
And you'll notice, and because Cleopatra is a drama, everything in silent film, everything in a drama unfolds slower. It moves slower. Comedies are much faster paced. It's almost like they film it at a faster frames per second.
The way I've always explained it, and the way that I brought, the way I think of these movies, and this is where I have become a nut where nobody distracts me at the beginning of a movie, is I think we're spoiled now because a narrative hook or something to pull us into the story or care about the characters happens usually minutes or seconds into the picture, whereas an older movie, especially a silent or a pre-code and stuff, it could take 20, 30, an hour for you to even care about what you're watching enough to invest in, yourself emotionally in it or care about the characters.
Yeah.
And I think back then they were more patient because they didn't have anything else. Whereas now people are like, this is boring. And it might be in the beginning, but if you stick with it, it gets better,
Yeah.
It should, unless it's Cleopatra.
And that also brings up another thing for Cleopatra. Like so many films back then, I just mentioned it with Johanna and Liz, Greed. So much of this footage is lost.
Right.
In 1917, the movie that everybody points to in the literature as being the best of the Cleopatras was Theda Bara's 1917 Cleopatra.
Yeah.
But only small parts of that film remain. It's like 30-second clips is all they still have. So
film geeks like us would watch somebody piece together still photographs for an hour and 45-minute movie with whatever they have and get something out of it. And this is where Greed, and this is the last thing we should say on Silent, because we've gone over 20. Greed is such a fantastic movie. But,
and it's just over 4 hours.
Because so they added back all the lost footage as still photographs now. Yes. That might seem crazy and hard to watch, and I don't recommend it to everybody. That's a higher level interest in film. There are silent movies that are worth everybody watching. Sunrise is one of them. I think anybody can watch Sunrise. I think The Big Parade is very easy for everybody to watch. I think Show People. I think those movies stand out. If you don't want to get into the whole KKK side of things, I get that. Don't go and watch, but watch Intolerance instead. Intolerance is done really well. And it gives you the same idea as far as filmmaking expertise without the problematic element. Speaking of,
as we continue to talk about silence,
we're not going to. But I actually sat down. There's a movie that's been on my list. I watched as a kid. My wife also watched it many, many, many years ago. Doesn't really remember it. I've seen it a couple of times. We sat down. TCM has this special with Carol Burnett for the holiday, where she is a guest host, and she's basically, they sit down and they watch a movie, and then they show a famous parody sketch of her show that hasn't been shown in 40 years.
Right.
Because these are the musical numbers typically, which did not get syndicated. So this is lost unless you own like a DVD collection.
Yes.
But anyway, so she introduces the movie, and then she introduces that. Now I watched one called Little Miss Broadway, which is the Shirley Temple movie. It's pretty good. Watched that with my mother-in-law, and then her sketch, which was like Little Miss Showbiz. Funny, great. But last night I sucked it up and watched 4.5 hours of Gone with the Wind. So I haven't sat down with intent to watch Gone with the Wind since, I don't know, 25 years.
Never seen it.
It's an incredible love story, but there's so many deeper themes in it. I do highly recommend it. Every cinephile
but it's
should.
One of those things, yes.
It is very hard. It'll take you an hour to pull yourself into the movie at the minimum. But the whole story, first of all, they would have split it because there's a break. There's an intermission directly in the middle, which would have been a clean break to do Kill Bill 1, Kill Bill 2, GW1, GW2 as they would have called it.
So I found it and bought it just recently. $2 at Goodwill. So now because I own it, I can create that time to watch it.
Yeah. Right. And so it is hard. It is very long. The movie itself is almost 4 hours. And then on top of that, because it was a Carol Burnett thing, there's like 45 minutes of interviews and a 25-minute sketch that she did, which is beautifully done. So very, very funny. But Gone with the Wind, I saw it when I was a kid. I didn't hate it. I thought it was long. I think I fell asleep, which I think my wife also. So she didn't remember any of it. Now, that being said, there are themes in it that I never paid that much attention to, because really the movie is about the transition of let's call it the old South and all these things, and there are racist undertones, like there's horrible stuff. You could sit there and you could have an entire college course just on Gone with the Wind.
I'm sure they do.
But some of the things that came out of it is there's a young, spoiled 16-year-old Vivian Leigh playing Scarlett O'Hara. Her transition from the beginning of that movie to the middle of the movie, where she's this pillar of strength, is this crazy transition. You actually see life experiences carry her to this different place, and then from that place again to the end of the movie where she's back to her. Anyways, it's very just a female heroine, a strong female character. It's very good. I would not want to watch it again for 20 years. Right. But I would never. I'm glad I watched it and sat down with intent. It would not be the same, to tell you honestly, to split it up. Because I think watching the emotional journey, I think, is the best part of it. I think watching her.
You have to be prepared to. So this is a 2-disc set.
Yeah.
And it's so long that the movie is on like you have to take a DVD out and put a new DVD in. So be prepared to do that right away.
I think it's 3 hours and 45 minutes. Just
200,
the film.
233 minutes, 7 minutes shy of 4 hours.
Yeah, But again, there's a reason it's called one of the greatest ever made and things like that. It's not. It's not my favorite. It's not one of the greatest films I've ever seen. But it is an epic piece of filmmaking that shows you how Hollywood got to the golden age and held that, but also why their downfall happened. And it very much mimics the South.
And there's it has a huge like nerd aspect to it, because in the same year that Victor Fleming because he gets credit for directing this, even though he was like the last director that came on, he gets, in the same year he directed this and Wizard of Oz.
Right. Well, like George Cukor was originally on, but studio got rid of him because he was gay.
Yeah,
to direct George Cukor, and so they didn't think he could actually handle romance scenes between Vivian Leigh and Clark Gable,
because he doesn't see the romance. But in Victor Fleming just got lucky because a similar thing happened on Wizard of Oz. They fired the original director.
Right.
Victor Fleming just right place, right time for two of the biggest movies in the history of film.
He's like a big, butchy, macho director guy, is my understanding. And so the studios liked him to come in to push people around, especially if productions were getting expensive. Yes. But one of the reasons that the movie is easier, palatable, and I like it so much more, and it's because my wife and I have more references for Clark Gable, because I didn't so much before. I mean, Olivia de Havilland, all those people are all great, but Clark Gable himself, like after It Happened One Night, which everybody should watch. It's a fantastically funny, great movie. But also, I've seen so many of his movies, from The Misfits to just like all of these movies. He's a great actor that I appreciate differently than I ever would have as a kid. So now seeing his character, there was a little bit of love there for him, and so it makes the movie better. Anyways, Gone with the Wind. I don't know who has 4 hours to burn, but if you do, caffeinate. Definitely caffeinate. Heavily caffeinate. Anything else? But it is so epically brilliant.
Before we get into today's actual topic, anything else that you watched?
There is one more thing I do want to note. I have
one more also. So
I watched a movie from the 90s. Let's get more modern, called Smoke Signals, which is
I love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching it back in the day, but I don't remember most of it.
No,
But
I saw it. I saw it once on VHS, even back
I think
when
I have the
worked at
VHS
Blockbuster.
tape
Yeah.
in like a plastic clamshell case or something somewhere.
Because I bought it previously viewed or something.
That's exactly right. But anyways, it's a movie about the natives. It's set in Coeur d'Alene, right? The Coeur d'Alene tribe in Idaho.
Yeah, and they're trying to get to
and
Arizona or something.
they're trying to get to like Phoenix because one of their dads in these native guys ran off when he was younger, and they just found out that he's dead, so they're going to pick up his remains and whatever else. Yeah. And it's beautiful. It's cathartic. It's I can't remember the guy's name who plays his dad, but he's also from Reservation Dogs. He's also from Powell, Ohio, which I watched recently. Yeah. But in all the other stuff I've seen him in, when he plays Brownie and stuff like that in Reservation Dogs, he's a sweet, kind, like big lovable teddy bear guy. In this, he's a little mean, and so that's a little distracting. But I loved it, and I think the fact that it was such an early use of indigenous director, indigenous writer, writing a story from their hometown, because the guy who wrote it was part of the Indian or the Coeur d'Alene Indian tribe in Idaho. Like, I don't know, it was good. It's a road trip movie, which I don't know if we mentioned in our road trip episode, but I realized I liked it more because of the fact it's a road trip movie.
And I really think Adam Beach is a wonderful actor, and should be in more things. I don't know that he gets to, and maybe it's because of being obviously native, if that limits him, but he is a wonderful actor, and it just really is a really good movie. It's a feel good movie. So I definitely recommend watching it too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of silent movies that we talked about, but that's the majority of what I watched.
We did go silent. I have one other movie that I wanted to.
Is it a silent movie? Everybody cares about.
It should have been.
Oh no, it should have been.
There's this movie from 1980, and it's called Gorp. 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 Not the world according to Garp.
No.
Gorp.
I know the cover box. I do know the cover box.
Dennis Quaid and Michael Lembeck are the main. It also has an very young Fran Drescher, Rosanna Arquette. I'm like, oh, all right. So it's a film that takes place at a Jewish summer camp in upstate New York. It centers on the group of waiters at the camp, but rather than serving the food, they spend their summer causing chaos, trying to get with the female counselors, staging pranks, that whole thing. And what's really weird with this is it leans heavily into that crude slapstick sexual comedy without having any crude sexual stuff. Like there is a quote unquote love scene. There's a sex scene with Michael Lembeck and Fran Drescher, and all it is Michael Lembeck in shorts, Fran Drescher completely clothed. It looks like they're hugging and rolling, and he's like hitting the ground and like he's struggling down there. And then they get up and talk about how great it was. Like, it is really freaking bad. So what the reason I want to bring
is this because the actors you don't think would were willing? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's bad. So anyway, as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, man, they're definitely going for that Meatballs vibe. But without any humor, without any charisma. And that got me thinking about our topic this week. And
Bill Murray.
Because Bill Murray and Chris Makepeace really elevate Meatballs.
Right.
Gorp was that. So the only thing that you get out of this movie is kind of seeing where Dennis Quaid, Fran Drescher, Rosanna Arquette, Bill Kirchenbauer, who from Growing Pains and Just the 10 of Us, the coach, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The bald guy.
It's just seeing, bald guy. It's just seeing these people kind of where they start. Exactly. Right. It's seeing these people where they start, but it's not funny. It does none of the jokes, none of it lands.
Let me ask you. So last week we talked about Bill Murray because we were talking about animal movies, and then it came to me that like Larger Than Life, which is a Bill Murray movie where it's him and an elephant, is elevated and better. Than like the Operation Dumbo Drop or a bunch of other animal movies that sometimes like Tom Hanks can save a movie. And I think Bill Murray that's where this topic
absolutely.
came from, can actually elevate a movie, the material, specifically. And so if Bill Murray was in Gorp, it probably would have been better, because Meatballs is, it's a cliched movie. It's from 1979. So the fact that it's early in that genre works to its benefit.
Yes.
But still, like, it's a better movie. It's more grounded, because Bill Murray is just a better actor, and he can carry comedy and everything
and
else.
his wit, that dry wit of his ability to speak is
and
so
his
good.
range of abilities in these movies and everything else, television, all those things. And so that prompted us to say, like, a discussion on Bill Murray movies specifically. But he pops up in a lot of stuff. And in doing some of the reading and things like that, I think it's funnier actually the stuff that he didn't get. That like he was supposed to be he was actually originally going to be Buzz Lightyear, right, in Toy Story, but they couldn't get a hold of him because he has no agent.
Yes, and everything's through a landline at a house.
But the amount of roles that he didn't get is astounding. Big roles, and he regrets a handful of them. And I just think that's crazy, that even after losing some big role that he would have enjoyed or would have taken, that he still doesn't have a better system than a fax machine or whatever it is, in a landline, which is what he does. But God love him. Like, he turns out great material, and he's living life, and he's doing better than most of us.
Right. Absolutely.
But I love Bill Murray. And I watched the old Lampoon stuff. I think I told you, I recommended Drunk, Stoned, and Brilliant, right? Which is the Lampoon doc about them and how they kind of came about. And his early stuff, Dan Aykroyd, all those people are in there. And it's very, very good. So anyways, Bill Murray has always been, he's very natural. He plays everything very naturally. And that's what
he's got. And he's not alone. He's got some relatively funny brothers, specifically Brian Doyle, his older brother, and Joel, his younger brother. There are others, but specifically them.
Let me put it this way. Chris Makepeace is not making Meatballs good.
No.
Gabe Jarrett is not making a real genius good.
Yes.
Gerrit Graham is making used cars good.
That's true.
But there's also a great cast of people, because Gerrit Graham is also fantastic. He's making these things better.
Yeah.
But like Gabe Jarrett. Yeah, and so it's not the Chris Makepeace weird looking kid role.
Right.
It's Bill Murray's soft-hearted character.
And that's like you mentioned, Gerrit Graham. Used cars, Gerrit Graham elevates what Kurt Russell is making great.
Yep.
You're not watching used cars because of Gerrit Graham. He's making it better because he's there, but he's not the one carrying the picture.
He's coloring the cast of this ensemble of people and filling in this fantastically funny driving a red car. But Bill Murray's been in so many different movies, since we're just making a list. And I know we got a couple things from socials and things like that. And like, let me put it this way. I do... one of the things was Where the Buffalo Roam, and I wish Where the Buffalo Roam was as good as Fear and Loathing, but it's just not.
I do prefer, and I wonder, and when that one came up, I think it was Big Meanie who shouted out Where the Buffalo Roam. And
I like it. I like Hunter S. Thompson a lot.
But I started to wonder, and we have this conversation all the time, it's that the first watch, would I like Where the Buffalo Roam more if I saw it first?
Maybe.
But I watched Fear and Loathing first. That was my introduction.
I think Johnny Depp is a stronger character actor, and I know he spent more time with Hunter S. Thompson.
I was going to say,
Johnny Depp a better
is more
Hunter
like Hunter S. Thompson.
Very much, and he does a better Hunter S. Thompson in Fear and Loathing Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And Bill Murray does a fine job. It's a little subdued. It's a little, but it's also supposed to be an earlier point in his career for some of the movie, which kind of makes sense. He has not so manic and stuff, but
so Bill Murray though. Where the Buffalo Roam. Another one that I still haven't gotten a chance to see, but came up quite a bit, was Saint Vincent.
Yeah.
The dramedy that he did with
what's
Melissa
her name?
McCarthy.
Yeah. I don't remember it, but Mel, every time I'm like, oh, we should watch that, she goes, we've seen it. So I don't know if that's a good thing that I can't remember it or not, but I don't remember.
A lot of people liked it, but then there's always there's all the classics, and we don't need to go over those, but things like Stripes, Ghostbusters, If you're a What About Bob fan, and I am, directed by I just lost his name, Miss
Directed
Piggy
that.
himself.
Frank Oz?
Frank Oz directed it.
Did he?
If you're curious, if you are a What About Bob fan, make sure you go head over to Reels of Cinema and listen to my episode that I guested on there where we talk about What About Bob and sure. I am so bad at movies today. What's the movie with that we love with Steve Martin and Eddie
Schindler's
Murphy?
List.
Yeah, exactly. The one with
Fear
Steve
Loathing.
Martin. No,
And,
Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy about making movies.
Bowfinger.
Bowfinger. Thank you. We talked Groundhog Day and What About Bob and Bowfinger? But another movie that comes up on here all the time is Quick Change.
I love Quick Change.
We love Quick Change.
We've talked about it. I bought it on Blu-ray, and it's one of the first things I purchased an actual physical copy in a long time. I still go back to the fact that I either didn't remember, didn't know that he was a part director on that, but I have talked about a specific scene in Quick Change for 20 years. I saw it in the theater, and even as a kid who knew nothing more than watching a silly heist comedy with a clown and all these things, I knew that scene felt real. If there's something about it that I felt strong, you know.
Yeah. But a movie that I really like that I don't know if a lot of people like it. I know a friend of mine, Eric, he put this on the Facebook page, The Man Who Knew Too Little. I love The Man Who Knew Too Little. I thought it was great. And The Man Who Knew Too Little also came out when I was just before I started working at Blockbuster. And he always said, I'm with Blockbuster, Des Moines. Like, it's just, that's something I still say to this day. It's
I
really
don't remember
funny.
the movie. I know I've seen it. I can picture the character.
Yeah, his brother is like
And hired
he and baking,
wants to keep him busy,
so he's setting him up with this
service
TV show. It's a TV show where they have to be a spy, and he ends up accidentally getting involved as a real.
Of course.
And it's Bill Murray, so we know he's going to be hilarious and everything.
I know I've seen it, but I just don't remember it. But let's go back to What About Bob for just a second, because I don't know what year What About Bob came out.
91.
91, really? Okay.
91.
So around that time, I don't know if the way they advertised it or whatever, but I felt it looked terrible when it came out, the commercials or whatever. I don't know. I was at a point in my life where if it didn't have Schwarzenegger in it, I think I thought it was dumb, or something my family would like, and I was rebelling against all their tastes and everything else. Tell them they're dumb. That's dumb. So I didn't really watch the movie. I didn't care about it for a long time. For like 10 years or more. And then I don't know, somebody I was hanging out with or said it was how much they liked it and how good it was. And I sat down and I watched it and I was like, oh, I have an appreciation for all these people now. So I do like it. It is good, but I remember distinctly thinking how cheesy and dumb it looked, which is weird because I saw Quick Change around the same time. And I was so accepting of that movie.
The year before, right?
Yeah. Maybe it's because maybe it's just my family liked one and their family didn't know the other one. Because I don't think they knew Quick Change. I saw that in the theater.
Huge Richard Dreyfuss fan, so I'm out.
Probably just rebelling against my parents, fuck you, Dad. But anyways, so it was weird. But I also have this whole new evaluation for Bill Murray because, and I think we all did, right? Like he got picked up in the Wes Anderson and then also the Jim Jarmusch vein, where he is in these roles that I remember distinctly in like Rushmore or Tenenbaums, and people being like, he should just stick to being funny. And I'm like, well, I don't think so. I think he's extremely well-rounded. And I think that he can do dry funny in a drama, or he can do drama in a drama.
Well, speaking of drama, so obviously Lost in Translation, but then there's also something like, you said Jim Jarmusch, Broken Flowers, or in even an earlier one, he was in The Razor's Edge.
I've never seen that.
Oh, you'll like it.
I'm sure. I know more. You know what else I haven't seen, which is totally off subject, but and I don't know why I'm confusing the two. Not confusing, but conflating the two. I have definitely seen that. I don't like it at all. My wife likes it a lot, but I think she likes River Phoenix. He's in there, right?
He is,
but is The Last Detail? I've never seen.
Oh yeah, with Quaid.
Jack Nicholson and Quaid and like young Quaid and stuff like that. But anyways, it's just, those movies that you just don't get around to watching, and by the time it's time to watch it, you're like, well,
yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of how both those somehow I'm conflating in my head. But The Razor's Edge is a remake, right? It was originally, is it Robert Mitchum in the 50s?
I know it's originally a book by W. Somerset Maugham. I'm sure it was made previously. But I know that the screenplay for the 84 movie was
how do you say his name, Maugham?
Written by, I don't know, I guess.
Okay.
I just say it with confidence and
That's
keep
a good
going.
guess. I was going to go with it. For the rest of my life, I'd walk around saying Maugham.
Maugham in the middle. No, it was co-written. This version was co-written by Bill Murray himself. So
okay,
yeah, it's definitely worth watching. I'm trying to find out if it was a remake, but yeah, I'm not reading fast enough today.
So outside of all that, this guy can pretty much do anything, and he's the king of cameos. And we've mentioned that show Square Pegs from the early '80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a pretty prominent role in one episode of that, where he's the substitute teacher, and he's I think he's in more of that episode than anybody else in the cast, and he's just a cameo. But he was also on SNL at the time, and huge star, had done Meatballs at this point, and Stripes, I think, at this point.
Yep. Yeah.
Square Peg's worth a rewatch, especially his episode. It's actually not terrible, but also like Parks and Rec. Like he comes on Parks and Rec, non-speaking role, right? I think there's one episode where he's talking on a videotape, like they filmed him with a camera, and they're just showing a videotape at his funeral. But he's in the same scene as a dead body, like at his funeral. He's like the Mayor Gunderson or whatever. So he's in 2 different episodes, I believe, where he's not talking and he's playing a dead body. Which he's Bill Murray, and he's coming to a guest spot, and that's what
because he doesn't care. He's just Bill. No, it's great. And that's like, I haven't seen it, but he did that Netflix special a few years back, A Very Murray Christmas.
Yeah.
I think he is the male version of that, or he's the comedy version of the actor who is the pretty actor who's willing to get ugly. For a role. He's willing to just be there, just to, like, I'll just be in the background and sit here. Well,
I think so. He's got acne scarring on his face, right? Famously. And I think that partially gave him the personality he has of making jokes and not taking things too seriously, because make somebody laugh, they're not going to laugh at you, whatever it is, because he's had those. And I think that was the reason he punched Chevy Chase, right?
Yeah.
Because Chevy Chase, they were very not friendly with each other, because Chevy Chase left. Bill Murray took his space on SNL. Chevy Chase came back to guest host SNL, and then just the two of them were backstage exchanging words. And at some point, Chevy Chase made a comment about his complexion, and Bill Murray knocked him out, which is, that shows he's a little sensitive about it. That being said, I think that aids in his thing of saying it's not going to be how he looks. That's gonna his appearance is not gonna be what makes him notable, famous, funny, clever, all those things.
No, it's gonna be my wit
and what he's saying and how he's using his body and how he's doing everything like that. Which like Kingpin, he very much
I was gonna say
he's playing a horrible character, like a character.
But he's also playing a ladies' man, kind of womanizer,
but also a sexual assaulter. Like there's a scene where he's grabbing that lady's breasts, just as he's walking her out or whatever, like, and unprovoked and unrequested. What am I like for? Unsolicited.
It was not okay.
She was not okay with it. But anyways, so that's a pretty terrible thing that this character is doing. He's okay doing that. He's got that nasty comb over. Kingpin is such a very funny movie, and partially it's because he went there. He went to the farthest point with that character and said, "I don't care. It doesn't matter how I come across in this, as long as it's funny."
Right.
And I think that works for him. Right.
For sure. Absolutely, absolutely. And on a side note, just back a couple of minutes, Razor's Edge was also made in 1946, starring Tyrone Power and Gene Tierney.
Not Robert Mitchum, Tyrone Power.
Not, yeah, Tyrone.
I was way off.
The other Robert Mitchum. And that one was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture.
Universally, I think he has movies that everybody likes, right?
Yeah.
Nobody doesn't like Ghostbusters.
Groundhog Day.
Nobody doesn't like Groundhog Day, right? It's pretty much like, you know how Christmas Story plays on a loop?
Yes.
They do that with Groundhog Day yet, or they're going to? Probably a rights issue.
I'm sure on February 3rd it'll play on TBS all day because
is
February
that Groundhog
3rd
Day
is
February
Groundhog
3rd?
Day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know.
But he also does some really great things with, like, you mentioned cameos in the TV shows, but he also did in the 80s, he was doing cameos in some great movies too, like Tootsie. He has a really small, basically cameo. He has basically a cameo in the
standout cameo in Tootsie. Like his
standout.
It's a small little bit, but it's substantial.
And then similarly in what's the one with the plant, Audrey 2.
Oh yeah. Little Shop of Horrors. 86 remake of the
86 remake, yes. Of Little Shop of Horrors. Like and then he shows up in Dumb and Dumber 2, the actual sequel to Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
He does a little cameo in there.
Which is a shame. I wish he was in the first one instead, but that's all right.
His amazing cameo in Zombieland.
Yeah.
Like,
which I think he was friends with Woody Harrelson, right? Or Woody Harrelson asked him directly, please do this cameo in this movie. So they wrote Bill Murray playing Bill Murray in the movie.
Yeah.
Which Zombieland, I remember, a little side note, but Shaun of the Dead had come out 2 years before, 3 years before, something like that.
Yeah.
A year before.
My guess was going to be 5 years before.
And I thought Zombieland was trying to be an American version or American response to Zombieland. And it is good. I like it. It's not as good. By any means.
And it is 5 years because Shaun of the Dead was 04 and that one was 09. So, but yeah, it is.
How many sequels did they make? How many sequels did they make that? Two or one?
Two, just the one sequel. So it's Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap
or whatever it was.
So I think the big thing with Zombieland was the original movie, the 09 movie, was actually originally just going to be a pilot for a TV show. And
really?
each episode was supposed to be a different rule. So they were building the rules. And
that would have been more
decided,
clever.
let's not do that. Let's just do it as a movie. So they took basically the first couple of episodes and revamped them and made it as a full length.
And then instead made The Walking Dead and had 2 full seasons of them stuck in a prison or something.
Yeah, I watched the first season of Walking Dead and gave up. It's not
if you condensed the best parts of The Walking Dead, however 12 seasons or 25 seasons they have, you condense it all into like one season, I think you'd have a pretty decent little story. But the fact that they spent so much time dealing with relationships with each other and those things, I got so bored.
Right.
I think most people did. But, again, not yucking somebody's yum. I know a lot of people love the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so. Yeah. My daughter being one of them. My middle daughter, Clarissa, loves Zombieland.
Well, obviously we have to, Caddyshack is huge. We all know that one. That was so pivotal to what I think is funny in comedy.
Yes.
So that one's big. But
Caddyshack and Stripes are foundational comedy for me.
Yeah, exactly.
That is there, and it's because of, in both of those, it is because of Bill Murray's ad libs and his wit and his ability to just watch the documentary on Caddyshack. They literally turned on a camera and said, just go.
Yeah.
Him and Chevy Chase, that whole scene in his garage apartment
together
was just, they just
second.
Turned the camera on and said, just do whatever.
Yeah.
Cannonball.
And they really hadn't shared any time in the same room together since Bill Murray. Yeah. Famously. But like you said, you might watch Scrooge before this. I don't know if you got a chance to.
No. Because this is only the second day after Thanksgiving. Scrooged is
No, it's not.
annual.
This is New Year's, buddy.
It's New Year's. So by the time this comes out, I sure did watch it.
We didn't say Thanksgiving what year.
But
anyways,
it is part of my lead up to Christmas every year. We watch it as a family, so we will be watching it.
I think I definitely need to watch it. I know it was one of those also universally loved movies that kind of, how movies can kind of disappear or be forgotten. I don't necessarily know if that one is because it fits into the Christmas theme, so people
Yeah.
remember it for that reason. But in my mind, it does that.
It
Did it
bombed
really?
originally because Richard Donner and Bill Murray did not get along.
Oh.
Richard Donner is not into all of the ad libs, and
Yeah.
Bill
In a
Murray
casual
lives
style.
to ad lib.
Yeah.
And I say that knowing that we actually did one of our 3 Clues, one movie that came out was on Lethal Weapon, which is a Richard Donner movie, and the most famous line is an ad lib.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert from 3 months ago.
Well, maybe I haven't answered that one yet, my friend.
But anyways, they famously did not get along, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have it in front of me, but Bill Murray said something like, somewhere in that footage is the best Christmas movie ever made, but he ruined it. Speaking of Richard Donner.
Right.
Like, he did not like working with Richard Donner at all.
I bet he said something about Marlon Brando too.
Probably.
Like two
he did work
Donner.
with Robert. That's where his connection to Robert Mitchum comes in, though, because Robert Mitchum is in. He plays the president of the owner of the TV studio. The TV station is played by Robert Mitchum.
That's very true.
So we found it there, but yeah, he definitely was not. He was not a fan initially. I don't know if that's changed over the years because it does seem to have grown to be a bigger part of our holidays. But
yeah, I'll definitely watch it this year. It's been quite a few years since I've seen it, but I know I like it. The cast is huge. The cast is great. Cast is funny. We've referenced that movie a lot on this show. I don't know if you recognize that, but we do. But what do you think? So Bill Murray, his career is going off on the same wavelength, but he gets picked up by a Wes Anderson and a movie like Rushmore, which I saw Rushmore first.
So did I.
I saw that one before I saw Tenenbaums. I think I saw it before Tenenbaums came out.
Because Rushmore was Anderson's second movie.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't think I saw it in the theater.
Oh, I saw it in the theater. I was in the Marines.
You did?
I went to there's a really fancy theater in Carlsbad, California.
And they had
me and a couple of buddies went and watched it. My couple of buddies hated it, and I came out like, I have seen the future of film. And my buddies that was the dumbest thing I ever saw.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be for everybody. Well, again, it's just for very certain types of people. I guess Wes Anderson has a taste. But the trajectory of his career to go off and do those movies, he is a strong part of them, and he's like a grounding force. He wasn't in Asteroid City, right?
No, he wasn't.
I think he was sick.
He was supposed to be, and because
he was sick
couldn't, that's where they got. That's why Tom Hanks ends up getting pulled into this world.
And in my opinion, it would have been better with Bill Murray, which is weird to say Tom Hanks couldn't replace Bill Murray, but I think Bill Murray would have carried it. Look at Moonrise Kingdom. Bill Murray's character is the grounding force in that movie.
Yeah. And you're not, and I don't think you're wrong in saying that but I think the reason for that is the role Wes Anderson specifically writes it knowing that Bill Murray is intended to be this person.
Of course.
Which is why I think Tom Hanks is so funny in The Phoenician Scheme, because now Wes Anderson's writing this role.
He wrote for him.
Right. So it's writing to his strengths. But yeah, I don't think you're not wrong. I think Tom Hanks does the best he could do with that part, but it's not.
And I actually like it. I know it's not your favorite, but I like it. I think it is Wes Anderson. It's the least story-driven film. I think one of the least story, because it's more like set pieces. He's like, I want to show this, I want to show this, I want to show this, and then like trying to string them together.
Asteroid City is very much more. It's fan service. It is inside baseball, because they're all playing two parts, right? They're playing the actor and the role at this whole setup, which I think is really funny and it's really good, but it's only going to play well to people like us who like Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I can see that. But I don't know, like, I remember watching Rushmore, and again, the reason I said all this was I saw it before Tenenbaums, and I liked it. Yeah. I like Jason Schwartzman already, but it was offbeat, and I probably would have forgotten about the movie, but then I saw Tenenbaums, and I was so absolutely amazed with the conception and the way that Tenenbaums is set up with so many elements that just struck me right.
Yeah.
That then I reevaluated Rushmore and realized, oh, I like Rushmore so much more now that I understand this guy's vision a little bit more.
Yeah.
But Bill
Rushmore,
Murray,
I think, is a top is probably it's a top. There are 4 Wes Anderson movies to me that stand out above all of the rest. And
Schindler's List.
Rushmore, Schindler's List, Rushmore, Tenenbaums, Moonrise Kingdom, and Grand Budapest. Those are, to me, that's his Mount Rushmore. Those are you can intermix those 1 through 4 however you want. Yeah. And then the next step is basically everything else, and Darjeeling Limited.
Right.
I don't know why I don't like Darjeeling Limited. I can't put my finger on it.
First of all, Adrian Brody can be hard sometimes, in my opinion.
It might be Brody.
He's a little bit. He comes off, I don't say ego driven, but his character is a little different. It doesn't seem as Wes Anderson-y, in my opinion, in that movie than others. But also, I think, I don't know. I feel the same.
Yeah,
I don't think it covers as much, and it's a little more sloppy.
Owen Wilson is generally the weakest part of any Wes Anderson movie he's in.
He's good in Tenenbaums, in my opinion. But he's overacting like crazy in Tenenbaums.
I'm not saying, I don't mean to, I say he's the weakest in a movie that is great in all aspects. He is not Cate Blanchett, Bill Murray, Gene Hackman,
Jackie Chan. What was the Jackie Chan movie he did?
Shanghai Noon.
Shanghai Noon.
And Shanghai Nights.
Man, and Shanghai Nights.
So back to Scrooge just for a second. I found it was an interview with Roger Ebert. So Bill Murray talking with Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert says the movie, it just didn't work for me. And then Roger Ebert says, it just didn't seem that funny. Did you have some disagreements with the director? Bill Murray's response was, only a few every single minute of the day. That could have been a really, really great movie. The script was so good. There's maybe one take in the final cut movie that is mine. We made it so fast. It was like doing a movie live. He kept telling me to do things louder, louder, louder. I think he was deaf. And that's the nicest thing he said about him.
Well, it's the Barry Sonnenfeld thing, right? Sonnenfeld? Yeah, Barry Sonnenfeld thing where he tells his actors to talk louder and talk faster. Mm-hmm. Say your dialogue faster. Just go faster, and louder, louder and faster.
Louder, faster.
Because he thinks you get a better performance out of a bad actor with that. I think it's
when
what
you do
it
it that
is.
way. But so how many? I'm trying to think. Is outside of obviously not Bottle Rockets and Asteroid City, but Bill Murray is at least a cameo in every other movie?
I think so. I think that's why he has a cameo in Asteroid City.
He's
right?
he's like real quick in Asteroid City.
But I think that was just to make sure
he's in it.
Yeah, I believe so.
The only time his voice or likeness doesn't appear is Bottle Rockets.
What do you think of Life Aquatic?
I love Life Aquatic.
Okay.
Well, we saw it you and I and Sorensen saw that together in Ashland.
Okay.
I liked it. I think it's great to this day. I'm also a huge Willem Dafoe fan.
Yeah. He's so good in that.
And growing up at our age, we grew up when every year Jacques Cousteau had a special on TV.
Who's this?
Yeah, Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Hocknestein.
Amy Mel is constantly saying she's never seen it and she wants to watch it. It's her brother's favorite. My brother, shout out to my brother-in-law Lauren. But she's never seen it. Yeah, shout out to Michelle. She got strangled in one of our short films. Apologies for that. It was fun. I still have the footage somewhere. If she ever dies and gets strangled, I have blackmail material for you, my friend.
That he's thought about.
That would be like, this video looks like it's 25 years old. It's just makeup. The cinematic magic. But anyways, Bill Murray has this career that I think he takes roles for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Not because, who doesn't take a role for the money? I'm sure he would.
Sure.
Given the opportunity. But if you find a list of the stuff that he either turned down and regrets, or the stuff that he missed out on because of his it's his IMDb page trivia is full of stuff that's an insane assortment. Like I'm talking Han Solo and shit like that. Like he was up for these parts and stuff that, but those he wouldn't have gotten anyways. But the stuff that he really would have wanted but didn't get a chance to.
Yeah.
But anyways, but he has this range as an actor. One of the things to bring up is the movie Mad Dog and Glory, which is 1993.
I want to say 3. My head says 3, but I'd believe it.
Uma Thurman, Bill Murray, and Robert De Niro, and a handful of other people. The best parts of the movie is one, Uma Thurman. She's topless in the movie.
She did that a lot.
But I mean, just phenomenally beautiful woman. But anyways, she is in it as a young Uma Thurman and fantastic. And then Bill Murray and Robert De Niro are playing like opposite type. Yeah. And Bill Murray is playing the gangster, but doing it with this funny edge because I think he's a mobster who wants to be a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
And Robert De Niro is playing like this meek, timid cop who is also very funny to think that the roles are absolutely different than anything that they, they're fully playing against cast. But I love the movie so much. And it's one of those movies that I think is forgotten. I think... a scene always sticks in my head. It's on like they're on the steps of like a brownstone, and Bill Murray gets violent, and it is a stark contrast to what we know Bill Murray as. Yeah, he basically curb stomps this guy. That's not what he does, but it's like that. But do you remember the long drawn out fight scenes?
Yeah,
there's this long street fight scene. What's the red haired guy's name from?
Yeah, David Caruso.
I said from First Blood, not NYPD Blue.
that's because those who know that's David Caruso.
David Caruso, the guy with the glasses. But anyways,
his CSI.
He is a cop also with Robert De Niro. He's a buddy. He's like a tough New Yorker kind of guy, and so he's going to stand up and fight alongside Robert De Niro. And they have like this street fight, and it's Bill Murray and Robert De Niro fighting over Uma Thurman. Not to spoil it, but it's a pretty impressive little choreographed, pretty authentic feeling fight scene that I think is worthy of everything else. But again, as you said, it's weird to see Bill Murray so against type and playing it in such a, that's not how we normally see him. Even if we see him aggressive or angry or these other roles, never like this, like violent.
Not
That's
at all.
Very strange.
He is completely against type. And speaking of, so I know I just talked about Roger Ebert and his interview with Bill Murray, but Roger Ebert was not afraid to be opposite of us. He would yuck your yum. He would tell you why it's stupid that you like something. But he wrote about Mad Dog and Glory. He really, really liked this. He said his quote was, "The movie is very funny, but it's not broad humor. It's humor born of personality quirks and the style of performances.
Yeah.
The kind of movie I like to see more than once.
It's well-developed characters.
And
the characters are developed.
The people who made it must have come to know the characters very well because although they seem to fit into broad outlines, they are real individuals. Quirky, bothered, worried, bemused. So maybe the hardest to please of the critics who wasn't afraid to call you out and tell you how terrible you are. And very rarely ever apologize for getting something wrong, though he did do that to Jim Carrey. That's for another episode. But
and Quentin
loved this movie.
He reevaluated Quentin and the Coen brothers because Raising Arizona, he said this just seems like made for the lowest common denominator. It's mocking this whole other. Like, if you read his review for Raising Arizona, it's almost goofy.
There's a great
brothers came out of it. Yeah.
There's a great clip making the rounds recently about Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel talking about just shitting all over, I think, Ace Ventura. Just how terrible it is. And then around the time of Truman Show, they're coming out, they're going, you know what, I owe this guy an apology. I just didn't understand what he was doing. I didn't get it. Now I look back and Jim, so he will yuck your yum, but he is not he was never afraid to reevaluate something given time. Though he never would have reevaluated the movie North, and I don't blame him because that movie is garbage.
No.
Sorry if you like it. That is my one yuck.
But I think it's when somebody else's. The Coen brothers are good because they loved Blood Simple. They said this is a career, and then Raising Arizona came out. And they're like, this is just trash. It's nonsense. Nobody paid attention. Nobody talks like this. Nobody acts like this. They're creating this world that doesn't exist and making fun of people along the way and all those things like that. They only went back and detracted and said, well, the Coen brothers have a style that matches that. But they never went back and said, oh, now I understand.
Now I get
Raising Arizona fits in the Coen brothers catalog and gives the opportunity for people to be introduced to the way they want to tell stories. They didn't do that. So, I can't respect them for at least not saying they were wrong, whatever.
Right. No, I mean, no. And I get it. As a critic, you have to hold firm to what you think, but you can do it in a way that's humane.
100%.
But,
so
go ahead.
I was thinking like Mad Dog and Glory because I just watched it like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. Like if you switch the roles, if it was traditionally Robert De Niro as the mobster, and Bill Murray as the
uncomfortable, awkward cop.
Yeah, I guess there'd be more comedy because. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how it would play out. I don't think it'd be the same movie. And I think it's the idea of watching them play against type that I think is the best. We should have a discussion about other roles, other movies where famous or not famous, I just hate that word, where larger actors are more well-known and established, well-known and famous.
Yeah.
Where those people play against type. You know?
Well, and going with using something like the movie Road to Perdition, where you have Paul Newman playing the arch bad guy.
Right.
Like, this is Mr. Matinee Idol hero playing the polar opposite of that. Right. That kind of a thing.
It's Jennifer Jason Leigh playing fast talking career gal front page His Girl Friday, following all those other roles that she had done where she's a teenager, like a timid teenager.
Hudsucker Proxy is a great movie. You need to watch it if you haven't seen it. Holy crap,
very much. But there's those kind of things. I don't know. I think there's a notable conversation of it, so we should talk about next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is basically movies where somebody's playing against type that are worth recognizing or at least discussing.
Yeah,
and maybe it doesn't always work because I'm sure there's some that just do not work. I'm not going to accept Pauly Shore as a Humphrey Bogart character in a remake of The Maltese Falcon. I don't think I could. I don't think he has the chops.
I could take him serious as a Peter Lorre character in the same movie.
Oh yeah, that's true. Very much.
I might be okay with that. With
or
Ryan
as Barbara
Reynolds
Stanwyck, not Barbara Stanwyck. Who's the girl in Maltese Falcon? I can't remember. As her, I could see Pauly Shore.
See him playing her character.
It would have been funnier if
I could see him in a fat suit doing his Sidney Greenstreet impression. For those of you that get that reference.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I love it when I get to nerd out and people look at me like, what?
Yeah. Sidney who?
So, anyways.
Yeah, that's what we should talk about next time,
So
I think.
next week we will break down some role reversals from what we know this person as to what they become. You mentioned Jennifer Jason Leigh. Hateful Eight is a great example of that because she's amazing in Hateful Eight. Robbed of the Academy Award. She got nominated, but
gives me an excuse to rewatch it.
Yeah, it does. All right, so that's going to do it for another episode of Couch Critics. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out, goofing around. If you had any fun at all, hit that like button, subscribe button, leave us that 5-star review. Let us know what you like, what you want to hear from us. What would you like us to talk about in the future? Leave it there. We read all of those things.
Validate us in some capacity. Make us feel
somehow,
like somebody cares or somebody likes this.
Please do it. If you're not already, make sure you're following us on all of the socials at Real Talk. And by all of them, I do just mean Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok. We post every day some kind of shenanigans, that whatever's going on. But make sure you're out there. We love to interact with everybody. Well, at least I do. And then I tell Dave how we interacted with everybody. He said, Dave, this is what we said today. No.
He prints out the interactions and faxes them to me.
I do. Because Dave is our resident Bill Murray. He only has a landline and a fax machine. It's the only way to get a hold of Dave. No. But with that, make sure you check us out. Go to all those places and stay tuned for a lot more fun coming up. Hopefully some more interviews in the future. We've got a few that we're working on. Always working, always working. But thank you so much, everybody. Here's where I point to Dave to give us our closing.
I already forgot what it was, but welcome. Thanks for tuning into Couch Critics, where we're never yucking your yum.
Yeah, we won't. We won't. We'll see.
I'll just mix all of our closes together.
But anyways, that's all right. Hey, you said the don't yuck your yum part. That's what matters.
That's true.
All right, everybody. See you next.
Thanks, all.